3, 2, 1, go.
So this week, while I was browsing through the Steam sales to try to find something to play that wasn't Halo Infinite, I came across this game, Omega Pilot. It looked decently unique, was pretty cheap, and so I took a gamble. And man, am I glad I did. This game is phenomenal, despite its pretty generic outward appearance. Basic sci-fi art style, sitting-only locomotion, and honestly some pretty basic looking maps. I also really like this line on the store page. Stand out not only by the results, but also by the unique customization of ships, of which there are already 24. Like, the hell's that supposed to boast? I should mention too that the unique ship customization, it's literally only a color choice. But there's another thing on this page that got me interested. The fact that it had less than 90 reviews. Now I know that VR is a niche platform, even despite its millions upon millions of users, that's still nothing compared to the hundreds of millions of users of more traditional consoles and PCs. So it's no surprise when a VR game has a small player base compared to the hot newest console game. But Omega Pilot isn't just small, it only has 2 concurrent players small. Yeah, that's not Photoshop. This game literally has 2 daily players. That's it. In fact, when I was playing this week, I was literally the only person playing at the time. And I only discovered this when I went to play multiplayer and was confused why I couldn't find any lobbies. I am literally the only person who's playing this game right now. How? And how is a very good question, because how was I the only person playing this? For a game that has less than 100 reviews on Steam, how in the hell did I sink over 15 hours in 2 days? Yeah, despite this game's very crap first appearance, I played over a dozen hours of this game in a very short amount of time. But that how can easily be explained just by watching the game. This game is what VR is for, an experience that just wouldn't work on any flat screen display. Nah, you need the full 3D surround experience for this. Honestly, I don't even know where to start with this game, because all of it is so damn good. Well, except the start page. But the experience and thrill you get from flying through tight spaces at incredible speeds, pulling off tight banking and crazy turns, traveling at the speed of sound, surrounded by incredible environments, throwing up when you lose control, this game has it all. Now, I'm a big fan of racing games, but I think everyone loves the feeling of going fast and beating others in a race. Well, this game turns that feeling up to 11. The speed, the controls, everything. And actually on the controls, damn are they just perfect in this game. Once you tune the sensitivity to where you like it, the absolute control you have over the ship is insane. I know this sounds cliche, but there comes a point where you just don't control the ship, but it feels like you are the ship. Okay, yeah, that did sound very cliche. But later in the game, when you get used to the controls and start getting good at it, the muscle reflexes are almost robotic in how you respond. Like, you don't even think about the action, you just do it. And sure, you mess up sometimes, taking a corner too tight or too wide, but everything's a learning experience, and the next time you come across that corner, you'll know how to respond. And the way you do respond, it's perfect. Being able to take a corner tighter simply by swinging the ship's back thrusters around and firing full throttle to drift into the corner, it's an amazing feeling when you get it right. And the dual controller and motion setup feels so natural and works so well, I'm kinda surprised I've never seen it before in VR. It's so responsive and so accurate, it feels perfect, and it makes this game feel as good as it is. But there's more to it than just the controls, because put me on a blank map and I'll get bored eventually. But what this game really benefits from is its incredible courses. Now, I know I said earlier that they seemed a bit generic at first, and yeah, the first course is just what Americans think racing looks like. But once you get past that map, they're really, really good. Not only are they quite varied in visual style, offering sci-fi maps, semi-realistic maps, or just Call of Duty shipment, but they also each have really interesting layouts, each with a technique or style that you have to learn. Some are super fast courses with short lap times and high-speed straights. Others are about technical turns and precise braking control. And others are hot garbage where you have to make last-second adjustments just to not fly face-first into a metal bar.
This map is terrible. Oh my god.
But each map offers something different for the player. Sometimes it's fun to just go as fast as possible. Other times you want a good challenge for yourself. But no matter what you pick, by the end of the race, you're always left thinking, I want another go because I know I can do better.
Honestly, I could keep grinding the same map. This is so much fun.
this game has some of the most phenomenal racing mechanics and gameplay I've seen in a very long time. It's an experience like no other. Hell, after playing Omega Pilot, I played Forza yesterday, and I just didn't feel it. So I went back and immediately started playing this again. And so I think back to that question of how? How is this game this fucking good and yet totally devoid of players? How is it that I'm an amateur having this much fun and yet can place first in the world without much effort? Wait, what? I can place first in the world? Like, okay, I know this game is small, but it can't be that small, right? Well, no, it's not. I should admit that this game, it's not perfect. Even though this game has now been out of early access for over a year, it still kind of feels like it should be. There's a lot of things that do feel fairly incomplete with this game, such as the ranking system not always doing its job properly, and giving you false hope. I encountered multiple crashes, inconsistent performance on maps, and just some overall bugginess that does ruin the experience from time to time. It's not bad, I mean, it's not a Bethesda game by any means, but it could be better. There's also motion sickness, which, as I alluded to earlier, it's not a non-existent issue. But honestly, it's not that bad. I had a much worse time with Portal 2 VR than I had with this game, and for the most part, as long as you're in control of the ship and looking at the course more than the scenery, which is what you should be doing anyway, just like when you drive a real car, it's not that bad. Plus, the seated position really helps a ton for minimizing motion sickness. So while it might take some time to getting used to, and I don't recommend this game for everyone, I was easily able to play over 4 hours straight and not have any issues. But honestly, I think this game's main flaw is content, or rather, the lack of it. This game nails the base mechanics so well that it's a shame when you discover that these are the only maps you get, this is the only ship you get, and these are the only modes available. What I think this game really needs is more of what it has, and maybe even some user content. Games like Assetto Corsa and Forza Horizon succeed because of their user content, from maps to vehicles to modes. And I think that this game is a prime candidate for just that. Imagine somebody creating a version of a Mario Kart level for this game, or a version of Le Mans built for spaceships. And as for the ships, really, I just think a couple more designs that aren't just liveries would be really cool. Maybe even some with different specs or tunings so that they're better at some maps than others. Or if that isn't the direction that the developers want to go, just allowing some user-created liveries on the ships would be more than enough for user expression. I mean, at least that's better than the unique customization of ships, of which there are already 24. And all of this is kind of what I mean when I say this game still feels like it's in early access, because it's so good for what it is. It just could use a little bit more of what's already there and a little bit of polish to clean it all up. But truthfully, I think all of this just comes with a player base. I think most of the issues I have, especially the lack of content, stems from the lack of players. If there were even 10 more people playing this, you bet the devs would perk up and start working more things in. And speaking of which, the devs are not slouches for this game. Despite this game's tiny player base and year-old release date, it's still getting plenty of updates, even now. Hell, the multiplayer mode I found so empty before was only added a couple months ago. It's kind of a shame that this game is so underplayed, when the gameplay is so perfect, the courses are so well crafted, the graphics are stylized brilliantly, and the devs are so vigilant. I can easily see this game becoming a VR esport. It's one of those perfect games for the platform, something that provides a thrill that I just don't see in VR much anymore. And that's saying something, because I've played pretty much every kind of VR game out there, and while some are definitely better than others, they all still end up feeling the same after a while. But not this. So here's my call. If you've watched all of what I have had to say here and you have a VR headset, get this game. Because honestly, it needs all the players it can get. This game is absolutely phenomenal, and it's so much fun to play that I just don't want to see it disappear into nothingness. It's a racing game that's just perfect for the platform, and yet I'm still one of the only people playing it. So with that, I think it's about time I take my leave, because I'm gonna go increase this game's player base and hopefully not crash into a wall this lap. Aw, shit.
Oh my god, I crashed. I think I died.